morning, everyone. It's Sarah. Well, good morning and welcome to my live video chat on my Facebook page. And just in case you haven't found it over on Facebook yet, what I do is every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Mountain Time, because I live south of Denver, and so it's Mountain Time here. What I try to do is every Tuesday have a live video chat on the Facebook page, and the Facebook page is my Posh Pooch Designs Facebook page. And then after the video is finished here, I load it into another program. I tweak it up a little bit, and then I shoot it over to YouTube. So I want to say hello to all my Facebook friends. I see a lot of you popping in. Hello, Michelle and Alicia and Lisa, Jennifer, Dana, Linda, Marlene. I'm so glad that you've all already popped in. But I also want to say hello to all my YouTube friends as well. And like I said, once it gets to YouTube, it's not live anymore. Okie dokie. Hello, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is my daughter. And guess what? Today is her birthday. I'm not going to say her age. There's two reasons. First of all, I don't want you to know her age. And second of all, I don't want you to know my age, because if she's that age, that makes me a whole lot older. Anyway, I'm super glad she's here. Everybody tell Elizabeth happy birthday. It's her birthday today. Hello, Ann. I see you popped in too. Well, today we have a lot. My whole table is just covered with lots of things to talk about. And the first question, before we do that, we need to clink in. I've got my back to school cup today. Everybody get your coffee or whatever you're drinking. And let's clink in. Clinkety, clink, clink, clink. I'm just drinking regular old Folgers today. I woke up with a weird headache. I must have had too much sugar yesterday. I did. I was craving peach pie, and I did get a piece. 2 pieces. And so I think that gave me a little bit of a sugar rush. Got my sugar levels off a little bit. So anyway, the question that I'm going to answer this week, before we do our apple for the teacher, which I'm real excited about, is the question, what is a colorway and what's a color? In other words, what's the difference? What's the terminology, and where does it come from for colorway? Well, I decided to look it up and see what the dictionary said first. I'm going to pop on my specs here. And according to Webster's dictionary, a colorway is a color or arrangement of colors in any range in which a style or design is available. So what does that mean for us, right? This is a terminology used in designers that do dresses and clothes, or say you bought your favorite pair of pants and they're red and you're like, ooh, these fit really good. I wonder if they have any other colorways, right? Well, what it means is if it's available for purchase in that color. So you go back to Marshall's or wherever you got them and see if they have them in black and green and other colors. Well, when it comes to yarn, because we're talking about crochet, right? So when it comes to yarn, what that refers to is, here's an example. Here's a mandala that I bought this week for $1. By the way, for $1. And only certain colorways are on sale. They're only available in certain colorways. And you'll find the name on the back, of course. Let me put my glasses back on. I can tell you which one if you want to go look for this one. This is called Thunderbird. It's really pretty. There's got the blue in the center. But what that means is, in referring to yarn, is they're just certain colors, whether they're solid, prints, stripes, variegated, that those yarn manufacturers sell already put in those colors for purchase. All right? That's the difference between a colorway and colors. All right, let me read you the definition from Webster's dictionary, is how color is referred to in the fashion industry. And this is color, not colorway. It says, color is a palette of colors used together to make a cohesive fashion statement throughout the collection. So when referring to yarn, it just means the colors that you've chosen to put together. So for example, how about this blanket that we're working on together? This is our Harmony sample blanket, and I've just chosen some different colors to mix together in my own way. You can't purchase these all in one skein of yarn. You'd have to put together several different, in this case, leftover skeins of yarn or half skeins of yarn to come up with the colors. And so sometimes one of the statements the lady made when she sent me the message is she said, I don't think people are using that the way that they're supposed to. But the truth of the matter is it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. What it really refers to, colorway is pre-done. What you can purchase that's already in those colors. But when you're talking about a color palette or color play, it's how you arrange the colors in your project. All right? And I hope that explained that for you. And a good example of that, of course, was, like I said, all these mandala yarns that are on sale for $1 at Walmart. Only certain colorways are $1. And that's because they're discontinuing those colors and coming out with some new colorways. All right, that's just a real quick explanation of what that means. Now, what we're going to do for the teacher, this is a really great project. It is a little apple bookmark, and we're going to make this together. I'm going to switch down over to my other cam, and then I'll tell you how to do it. I'm also going to pop on my glasses. All right, so here's my little apple. It just takes a tiny bit of yarn, and you can make this out of acrylic worsted weight number 4 yarns, or you can do cotton. This one I did with cotton because I had some on hand. It just takes a tiny, tiny bit, so it doesn't really matter which one that you use. All right, and here I've got some worsted weight here. Of course, you can make your apple green if you want to, or you can make it a yellow apple as well. Apples come in lots of wonderful, fun colors. We're going to be stitching with our H hook today. This is a 5.00 millimeter H hook. You'll need your scissors for cutting yarn, and then you'll also need a needle so we can weave in those ends when we're finished. Alrighty. All right, let's get started. We're going to begin with the red first. And I need to switch my notes over so I'm on the right page here. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to begin with our red yarn. We're going to make our slip knot and chain 4. So there's 4 chains. Our first 3 chains count as a double crochet. And we're going to place, let me check. There it is. I was looking on the stem pattern. We're going to place 9 more double crochets in that 4th chain from the hook. I'm going to mark this because I kept looking at the stem. All right, because we are going to add a stem. So a double crochet, and just in case you can't remember, yarn over, go in that chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. So now I have a chain 3 that counts as my first double crochet and 2 double crochets. And I need a total of 10. So here's 4, 5, and we're stitching all of these in that same chain. 6, 7, my green is getting wound around my red. There we go. There's 8. 9, and this makes 10. Now I'm going to count just in case. So we need 10 double crochets. So here's my chain 3 that counts as my first one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alrighty, now I've got a knot. There we go. we're going to join to the top of our chain 3 with a slip stitch, pull a loop through, pull that loop through the loop on the hook, and then we're going to chain 1. All right, now for the second row, we're going to start with 2 single crochets in that first stitch. So put your hook through, pull a loop up, yarn over, and go through both loops. Then we'll go through and do it again. The next stitch, we're just going to put 1 single crochet. And the way this is going to work around this apple edge is 2 single crochets in the next stitch and 1 single crochet in the next. 2 in the next, 1 and 2, and 1 in the next. I call this doing 1 and 2 or 2 and 1. It's just a way to help me remember what I'm doing. All right, so 2 single crochets and 1 in the next. All right, now we've added, the yarn is jumping around there. We've added extra, and so we started with 10 double crochets, and we need to end with 15 single crochets. Our first row was 10 double crochets. Our second row is 15 single crochets. We're going to join to that first single crochet, not the chain 1, but the single crochet with a slip stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and cut off that red yarn. And I'm happy to get rid of it. It is in a knot. Alrighty. Now, before we go and do the next thing, I want you to pull your loop a little bit big and turn it over. And sometimes when you start with that sort of a beginning, you'll have a hole in the center. So I give it just a little bit of a tug. I'll tie or thread that onto my needle, not tie, thread it in, and just go around those edge stitches that we began and gently pull that in and close up that hole. And we need to make sure that hole is closed because we're going to do the chain across the back, and we don't want that to show through when we do that for the bookmark. Alrighty. And we're going to tie that off and cut that off, and that's done. Now we don't have to worry about that portion later. It's all taken care of. So here's our little round apple. All right, so we're going to snug that back down. We're going to join in our green. And the first thing we're going to do is make the leaf. So we change to our green yarn. We're going to chain 2. We're going to place 2 double crochets right in that same stitch. There's 1 and 2. Then we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to slip stitch right in that same stitch. Pull your loop up and pull that loop through the loop that's on your hook. There we go. That's our little leaf. Now we're going to chain 4, and this is going to be the stem. So we chain 4. We're going to skip the first chain next to our hook, and remember, never count the loop that's on your hook. Your first chain is the first chain off the hook. All right, so we're going to go in the second chain, and we're just going to stitch a slip stitch. 1, 2, and 3 in those last 3 chains. That's going to give us a stem, and then we're going to go right in that same stitch and stitch another slip stitch to join. All right, we're going to go ahead and cut that. And there's the apple portion. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn this over, and we want to go ahead and weave in all these ends. And one thing to remember when you're doing more than one color is try to stay in that color, because we don't want any of the green to show through on the red, and we don't want any of the red to show through on the green, because that'll make a little bit of a messy back of our apple. Sorry, I hesitated there. It's a little different when you're doing this live than when you're doing a pre-recorded video, because all your mistakes stay. If I accidentally say double crochet and I have to change it, I can't do that when I'm doing it live. All right, so I've got that all weaved in, and just a note on weaving in, try to go through stitches and fibers of the yarn, not through the holes. All right, so now I've got me a cute little apple, and that makes a nice little applique. But what I want to do is turn it into a bookmark. Now, you can join up here and tell it through the back if you want to. And this is the way I did the first one, but I kind of like the idea of just going ahead and joining right down here at the bottom, and I'll just go straight down and I'll join that in right there at the bottom, because we can weave that back in. All right, so now we're just going to chain 22 chains. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 2 more makes 22. And that makes a nice length. If you want to make it longer, you can, or you can make it shorter. It's totally up to you. Now, we're going to cut the yarn, but we're going to leave that loop there. And I gave myself just a little bit to work with. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make just a real quick tassel. And so what I do is I just take my fingers and I go 1, 2, 3, just like that. And you want to cut it down here at the bottom where the other one was. There we go. So we have 3 or 4 strands. Don't worry if one's longer, because we're going to trim it. All right, so we're going to take those strands, put our hook, and pull it through that loop. All right, and we're going to just gently make sure that they're through. So it's like this. We're going to snug that down, and then we'll just pull that down just like that. And then we'll cut off another piece. Let's lay it out there so you can see. Just like that. And we'll take this other piece and just tie it on. And you have to finagle it a little because you don't want any puckering or pooching in there until you like it, and then tie that tight. And I like to make this one longer just so I don't have to retrim it, because then I can just take all this, pull it down, and trim. Alrighty, the only thing that we have left to do is to weave this in. Alrighty, now we'll just go right back like that and go back like where we came from, and do this one a couple of times because you want this one to stay put. Alrighty, I got a little more on there. That's why I left a long tail, so we can weave that in a bunch. And I think this makes a really great gift to send with your kids, or maybe add it on a tag at Christmas time or something like that. But it's just a cute little bookmark apple for the teacher. Alrighty. Again, thank you for your patience when doing this live, because it's a lot different than when you're doing a video where you pre-record everything and then you can cut and paste. And a lot of times when I'm doing a video, if I mess up, I'll just go take 2 and then I'll cut it off, and that tells me, okay, you need to fix that spot. Anyway, it's just a fun, easy little apple for the teacher that you can make. Send it with your kids. Add it to a gift as a tag. You know, just don't forget that teachers work really hard, and they have a whole lot more things they have to teach than just reading, writing, and arithmetic these days. And so, you know, just be patient with them. Classrooms are full and big, and they have lots of things they have to do. And, you know, they work a lot of hours outside those school hours. So anyway, be appreciative to those teachers out there, and remember, you know, especially the first of the year, they're learning lots of new names and things like that. So that's a fun little gift for the teacher. All right, so we got a few more minutes. I want to talk to you about a few things that we did this week. Yesterday, I got this done, and this is so gorgeous. This is the Colorscape in Rome that we did. It's just called Waffle On Cow. You can make it as a cow. You can make it as wide as you want. You can make it as long as you want. And you can make it out of any yarn that you want. And it's perfect for a man, for a woman, for a boy or girl because it's so totally adjustable. And it's a photo tutorial on the blog as well as a video if you want to learn how to do the waffle stitch. I called it the waffle on because to waffle on means to, you know, talk and talk and talk and talk. And so I thought you could just work this as big as you want it. So it's a waffle on. Anyway, I love a fun, catchy name. And this yarn is gorgeous. Let me show it to you again. I know I talked about this before. That this is a yarn that Red Heart sent me. It's called Colorscape, and the color is Rome. So anyway, that video and pattern is out there. We did that yesterday. And then we also did this last week, the double ruffle headband. Now, I was going to wear one, but my hair was not cooperating today. But here's the one I did in the variegated, the ombre with the coral. This is Red Heart Stripes. I love this one because the buttons I use looks like it's a monster looking at you. And I did this one in the Americana with some gold stars. This is a pattern we did a few years ago, and we just wanted to get it out there and get a brand new video for it. And that's the double ruffle headband, and you can do it in whatever yarns that you want. The pattern's written in a worsted weight number 4. Just remember, if you go up to a thicker pattern, you're going to get a thicker ear warmer, and it's going to be wider. So it works great with a little bit thicker yarns as well. And remember, if you use a thicker yarn, go up on your crochet hook too. Okay, the other teacher gift we did this week was the pencil, there we go, the pencil jar cover. And I don't know if you've watched the video yet, but I showed you how you can do it with a plastic ice cream container. And this is one of my favorite ice creams. I think it's called Taliente. I don't know if you can read that off of there. And you can find these at Sprouts and Target and Walmart and King Super, which is Kroger. But it's a really good, they have a caramel salted that I really, really love. And it works great if you don't want to have a glass jar in your classroom. And one thing I learned is around here, all the classrooms, the teachers really ask students to bring water bottles because they want to keep the kids dehydrated, or hydrated, not dehydrated. And so this works great at the teacher's desk. If she wants to drink water in her classroom, if she wants to use it as, you know, a pencil cozy, it works great too. You know, and so, but some people may not want that glass thing in their classroom. It just depends, you know, junior high, high school, middle school, probably okay, but elementary, maybe, you know, maybe not. So anyway, that was out there yesterday. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, oh, here it is. I received this week from Red Heart, and I'm real excited about it and also a little bit scared. And that's because they sent me these 2 skeins of pooling yarn. And I know how to do the pooling, but I've not tried this pooling yarn yet. It's specifically made for yarn pooling. And yarn pooling is where you do a pattern in a certain, Elizabeth says, where is the $1 mandala? It's at Walmart. Walmart's doing their reset. And also, one thing I learned is if you can download the app on your phone, you can go in and scan them all because they're not marking them. Mine, I went through and scanned them, and the lady was so nice. She was standing there with me when I got some. And also, if you can get 2 of each color, that's really good, each colorway, because that way you have enough to finish a project. So go to Walmart, and 2 things. Scan them, download the app on your phone and scan them, or go over to the clearance that's not in the yarn area, but ours has the 2 Walmarts that I went to in the back of the store, over by like the lawn and garden and dog food. If it's a super Walmart, they have a couple of aisles that's clearance, and they had a bunch back there as well. And so they're, I think, eventually moving it over there, but they're doing their yarn resets. So anyway, I wanted to answer that question. Everybody loves a good yarn bargain. All right, but anyway, this is a new yarn by Red Heart, and they have several different colorways. And this one is called Haute, H-A-U-T-E Pooling. It's a kind of a red, a gray, a black, and a white. And I actually really like this. I like those colors. And so I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I mean, everybody out there sees, you know, just big swatches of it and stuff. And so I'm going to see if I've got an idea that I want to try and see if it's going to work. That's the thing. I just want to see if it's going to work. And so I got two. So I got, she sent me two. That one's upside down. So I have plenty to work with. So I'm real excited about that. And I'll be getting back with you with a pattern or two and letting you know how that works. And I'm sure I'll do a separate video, because I try, you know, to do, when they send me yarn, they've been so good to me. And when they send me yarn, I try to do a separate video on just that. So, and I have tried the color pooling with some of the regular Red Heart yarn, and it took me probably about 10 tries before, I mean, I gave up a couple times and thought, oh, this is silly. And then I watched a video. Oh my goodness. It was not a Red Heart video. It was somebody else's. But anyway, and she was talking about placement and measuring and things like that. And I'm like, that's a lot of work. Well, I did it, and it did work. So, but Marley, that is the spokesperson, Marley Bird, that's the spokesperson for Red Heart Yarns, does have a new video out on this. And so I'm going to watch it, and then I'll get back with you and let you know how it worked. So, what did she say? I'm at therapy for a whiplash. I need to go to Walmart. Yes, you do need to go to Walmart. Yes, and a yarn fix always helps heal. You know, I had another friend pass away recently. Longtime friend. I knew her before she was even pregnant with her kids, and her kids are adults with kids of their own. And she had a wonderful life. She was a wonderful Christian lady, and it was really great to know her. She was always real vivacious and exciting, and I'm not going to say her name or anything. But when someone passes like that, even though I know, you know, that she went to heaven, I still, you know, you still mourn for their funness and you know, worry about their family, make sure they're okay. Because I know what it's like to lose your mom, and I know what it's like to lose your sister. So when those sad things happen, because you know what, we all go through sad things. We all go through troubling times and things that weigh on us. And one of the greatest things that I have found that helps me heal is crochet and yarn shopping. And I have to tell you something, when I came home with those 2 bags from Walmart with all that mandala in it, my husband walked past my yarn room, because the upstairs of our house has our bedroom and bathroom, and then it has his music room, an office, another bathroom, and then my yarn room. And he walked past my yarn room, and he stuck his head in, and he goes, "Are you ever going to clean this up?" I said, "It's a controlled mess. I know where everything is." Not. So I've got a bag of a bunch of ice cream yarn over there from Lion Brand that I've got plans for, the mandala bags, and I still have a big box of Christmas stuff out, because I get out all my Christmas yarns in July, you know, to revamp and do new patterns and things, you know, because I love doing Christmas in July, because you know I love Christmas. And so that tub is still sitting out, but I have strategically got everything spread out away from the back wall so that you can't see it. And I told my husband, I said, one of these days I'm going to take that camera and I'm going to spin it in a circle so they can see absolutely how much yarn I actually have. Because I get comments all the time about the amount of yarn that I have. So, anywho, yarn and crochet is great therapy. And I think the reason that I think that it works for me is because I can sit down and work a project, and I can shut out all the hurts and the pains and whatever's distressing me of that day and concentrate on that one project. And especially if it's something I'm going to give to somebody, I can concentrate on that. So anyway, my throat's getting dry again. I've showed you all the yarn. I've showed you all the new projects, and I hope that you understand what I was talking about colorways. And remember, 2 things I want to remind you. If you miss a video on the live stream, you can always watch it later. They are always on my Facebook page in the videos. And then you can also watch it on YouTube. Another thing that you can do is go to my blog, and at the top of my Facebook business page where this is at is little tabs, and you can click on the one that says blog. And on the right side of my blog, there's a little box and it says follow with email. And what that does is that magically, every time I write a new blog, it magically goes to your email. Now, I never see your email address. I don't have anything to do with that. It's just a program that's set up with my blog. And all they do is they take the email, it's put in a little doober. And when a new blog is written, they just send them out to whoever's on there. I can't add you and I can't take you away. You have to do that. So anyway, that's another thing I wanted to remind you of. And it's time to go. And I want to thank you all for coming. I hope you'll make some of those Apple bookmarks for the teachers of your children, or if you're a teacher, or you have a friend that's a teacher, make them some. They're great gifts. Add them to a Christmas gift as a tag. Or if you're going to make a teacher one of these, give her one of these too. And you can even put the apple as an applique on it. All right, so I'm going to let you go. I want everyone to have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you for popping in and chatting with me. And remember, I can't do this without you. Have a great week, everybody.